Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am the founder of the DigiPalms, and today I am absolutely pumped to pull back the curtain on something that has literally transformed our entire business. I'm talking about taking our cold outreach reply rates from a totally dismal 2% all the way up to an average of 20%. Yep, you heard that right. We're sharing our proprietary AI cold email playbook. So if you've ever stared at a blinking cursor just wondering how on earth to get a total stranger to actually open, read, and reply to your emails, you are exactly where you need to be. We're going to break down exactly how we use AI, not just to churn out copy, but to engineer high-converting outreach campaigns from the ground up. Now, right out of the gate, we need to establish our core philosophy here at the DigiPalms because it informs everything else we do. AI doesn't replace the marketer. It supercharges them. We absolutely do not use AI to mass generate generic robotic spam. No way. Instead, we treat it like a brilliantly efficient assistant. It helps us refine our angle, brainstorm at light speed, and execute proven frameworks with total precision. But that human strategy, the empathy, the final polish, that always has to come from us. Okay, let's just dive right in, shall we? Here is the roadmap for today. We're going to walk through the 5 critical phases of our internal playbook: building your campaign foundation, crafting the irresistible pitch, dynamic follow-up, tools and compliance, and finally, the execution strategy. All right, kicking things off with phase 1, building your campaign foundation. Look, a lot of folks think cold emailing starts with writing a clever subject line. Actually, scratch that. It really doesn't. A highly successful campaign starts long before a single email is ever sent. You need deep context. I'll admit, before we adopted this system, we were practically emailing into a black hole. Now, we literally feed our target audience's demographics, their job titles, and our current baseline metrics straight into our AI assistant. We prompt it to generate highly actionable SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And then we have it pinpoint our exact buyer persona. We ask the AI to define their daily challenges, their specific goals, even where they prefer to communicate. By doing all of this up front, we build this rock-solid foundation for our targeting before we even think about writing a single word of copy. Moving right along to phase 2, crafting the irresistible pitch. This is honestly where things get really fun, because we get to watch the AI transform that dreaded blank page into high-converting copy in a matter of seconds. And this brilliantly illustrates the night and day difference between amateur outreach and our AI-powered approach. We've all seen the generic, "Hi, just checking in on my product" opening lines, right? We get them, we roll our eyes, and we delete them instantly. But what happens when you prompt an AI properly? Game changer. We ask our AI to take a specific recipient's role, pair it with a recent piece of news or a company achievement, and craft 5 highly personalized opening lines based purely on that data. It instantly captures attention because it proves, right away, that you've actually done your homework. Now, beyond that killer opening line, we enforce a mandatory checklist for the email body, and we prompt our AI to follow it strictly. First up, we have it generate 10 attention-grabbing subject lines, and we deliberately restrict them to under 40 characters. Why? So they don't get chalked off on mobile screens. Second, the AI must articulate a crystal-clear value proposition. We're talking getting straight to the main benefit, absolutely zero fluff. And finally, we ask the AI to generate 5 compelling variations for a single, optimized call to action. Just one. We only ever use 1 CTA per email, because giving them too many options is the fastest way to confuse the reader and lose the reply. But let's be totally real for a second. You craft the perfect pitch, you hit send, you're feeling great, you wait, and nothing happens. Just the sound of crickets. So what happens when they just don't reply? Well, that brings us right to phase 3, dynamic follow-up strategies. Everybody says the fortune is in the follow-up, and they are absolutely right. Persistence is where your real ROI is generated. But, and this is a big but, there is a very fine line between being persistent and just being annoying. To navigate that, we use our AI to map out an exact 30-day 5-email sequence. Day 1, obviously, is the initial pitch. If they don't reply, day 3 is a value add. We actively ask the AI to suggest additional highly valuable content we can share, rather than just sending that lazy, just bumping this to the top of your inbox email. Day 7 is all about objection handling. We feed the AI the most common pushback we get and have it draft empathetic responses. Day 15 is a lighter check-in, and day 30 is the final touchpoint. Every single touchpoint has to provide unique value, making the whole sequence dynamic rather than just nagging the prospect to death. And I've got to tell you, the true secret weapon in this entire sequence is that day 30 touchpoint, the breakup email. We define this as a professional, courteous, final message that essentially says, hey, I won't bother you anymore, but the door is always open. We use AI to craft a really polite exit strategy, and you would be mind blown at how frequently this specific email triggers a last-minute response. It totally leverages the psychology of taking the offer off the table, which suddenly prompts the prospect to say, wait, actually, let's talk.
Okay, shifting gears a bit to phase 4, tools, rules, and compliance.
Let me put my serious hat on for just a moment. All of this incredible creative work, the dynamic sequences, the hyper-personalized pitches, it is completely 100% useless if your emails land in the spam folder, or worse, if you violate privacy laws. So we leverage AI as our compliance officer just as much as our copywriter. We literally prompt it to generate comprehensive GDPR compliance checklists that are specifically tailored to email marketing. We have the AI review all of our drafted content to identify and eliminate any potential spam trigger words, and then it suggests safer alternative phrasing. We even use it to formulate strategies for maintaining incredibly strict email list hygiene, so we are only ever emailing clean, highly engaged contacts. And speaking of the spam folder, deliverability is everything. It's the whole ballgame. If you haven't set up your domain authentication, you are already losing before you've sent your first message. At the DigiPalms, we prompt our AI to provide step-by-step, idiot-proof setup guides for SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. These 3 protocols are the absolute minimum technical requirements you need to prove to the email servers out there that you are a legitimate, trustworthy sender and not just some spammer. All right, let's bring the energy back up for our final phase. Phase 5, executing your AI strategy. So having all the prompts and understanding the framework is fantastic, but how do you actually implement the DigiPalms playbook in your own business today? Well, we have 4 golden rules for execution. Step 1, always provide deep context. The AI absolutely needs to know your business, your audience, and your unique situation to give you tailored results. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Step 2, implement gradually. Please do not overhaul your entire marketing department overnight. Start with one single campaign, measure it, and scale from there. Step 3, apply human judgment. The AI gives you a phenomenal starting point, but your specific industry expertise is what makes it perfect. And step 4, iterate based on data. Let your open and reply metrics tell you it's actually working, and then adjust your prompts accordingly. And to ensure we're constantly improving, we never stop prompting, even when a campaign is live. We actively ask the AI to develop A/B testing plans for us, giving us new variables to test and specific metrics to track. We prompt it for fresh ideas on how to integrate multi-channel outreach, like, say, combining our cold emails with targeted LinkedIn touches. And we frequently ask it to analyze emerging industry trends in cold outreach, so we are always staying ahead of the curve, adapting our strategy way before our competitors even realize the landscape has shifted. So here we are. You've seen the exact blueprint we use internally at the DigiPalms. You understand how to build the foundation, craft the pitch, master the follow-up, lock down your compliance, and execute the whole shebang. You know exactly how to leverage an AI assistant to do all that heavy lifting while you provide the overarching strategic vision. So I'll leave you with this. You have the strategies. What's actually stopping your next campaign? I highly challenge you to take these insights, fire up your AI assistant today, and launch your own high-converting campaign. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy emailing.